Hi everyone and welcome to today's class. Okay, I think I have to say okay here. Yes. Hi everyone and welcome. I hope you are all looking forward to this colorful class. We're going to make Valentine's cards, and today we're going to use a huge part of our stash to create those cards. Of course, you can also make papers, especially for this purpose. But yeah, you can also very well use any papers that you already have printed and that you are wondering, like, what am I going to do with all of my papers? Then this is a really good way of using them. So my name is Birgit Koopsen, by the way, and I'm a brand ambassador for Gelli Arts. So let's turn the camera to my hands and then I will show you what we are going to do today. So this is the sample card that I made, and as you can see, it has not the traditional Valentine's colors. If you have been following me for a while or have taken more of my classes, you know already that I love color and that I don't do things in the traditional colored ways. So I have a colorful Valentine's card, and inside of the card is a little gift for the one receiving it, which is a cute little banner, a heart banner that the recipient can hang somewhere if they like. So I'm going to show you how I made the prints for these hearts. I'm also going to show you how I made the banner. And I'm going to start by printing some papers. And as I said, you can very well use your stash of papers for this purpose. So I have some papers here that already have been printed on one side. But for the banner, I also need prints on the other side because they are double-sided. So I decided to just pick a couple of my papers and print on the reverse side and then show you how to continue. Of course, for the hearts that I used for the card, these hearts, you don't need a print on the other side. You can, on the reverse side, you can just use any paper that you already have printed or make them especially for this purpose. So today I have some found objects here and some handmade objects to create my print. So I have some pill strips, as some of you know, one of my favorite tools to use. I have some hot glue stamps that I made. So there is also a video available that I did for Michael's, in which you can see how to create these hot glue stamps. I have some cardboard, some more pill strips. This is actually a texture plate made from buttons. They are just glued on a piece of cardboard. Gives a really nice effect when printing. Of course, we have our mini tools from Gelli Arts, some more cardboard. I have some lace. I have an old alphabet stencil, like a school stencil. And I was lucky to have received a package one time with heart-shaped bubble wrap, which is of course perfect for Valentine's cards. So I probably will use this in one of my prints. I'm maybe not using all of these tools, but I just like to have a couple of tools on hand so I can pick and match different textures while I'm working. Let me see. So the other thing I have here is, of course, my Gelli Arts Gel plate. This is the 5x7-inch plate because I'm going to print on the smaller sheets. I don't need to use my big plate, and I'm going to use the smaller one and my rubber brayer. So I think I will just start and do some printing on the back of some of these, on the reverse side of some of these sheets. Some of them already have like a base color, so I only need to add the texture to that. So I think I'm just going to start with that because that makes it easier, and it's exactly the same technique as if I would do it on the other ones. It's just that I can do more in less time. So I'm going to print on these. And today I'm using acrylic paint. And the brands of acrylic paint that I'm using is Liquitex, Amsterdam, and Winsor and Newton. All of these are available at Michael's, and all of these work equally. So it doesn't matter which brand you have. And also, if you don't have one of these, whatever type of, whatever brand of acrylic paint you have will work. So yeah, I'm just going to, I usually just look at the colors and choose based on the color that I want to use and not on the brand, or not even, most of the time, not even looking at opacity or stuff like that. I just go with the flow, and I'm like, you know, when when it doesn't turn out, if it doesn't turn out the way I hoped or I like, then I will just add another layer on top. And I don't want to do too much thinking for this. Also, because it doesn't really matter how beautiful your print is when you do something like this, because your print in total might not look very interesting, but the moment you cut out little parts like these hearts, a little part of the paper suddenly is looks very interesting and can be really nice, where you had no idea when you just looked at the bigger piece. So that's also a good thing to know when you are using your stash. When you do stuff like this, you can actually try and start with the prints that you like the least. So the ones that are not your favorite prints, cut them up in smaller pieces, cut circles or hearts or stars or whatever shapes you want to use for your cards. And then you will see that your least beautiful prints actually are very well for that purpose. So as I said, I have this fun heart-shaped bubble wrap, and I have no idea where it came from. It was a package was wrapped in it, and but I think you can actually just find it online. Heart-shaped bubble wrap. Just Google it. Good thing is that you can use it many times before it doesn't work anymore. So I have this piece for quite some time. I even clean it off sometimes. I can just try and see if that works right now. So I can show you how you can clean your bubble wrap, and not only heart shape, but any bubble wrap. Sorry. I hope this works, because the paint on here is actually already on there for a long time. But I'm just going to try. So I'm just going to put some clear tape on it. I'm very sorry. Sorry. Let me see. So if you do this and you clean it regularly, then you can use it many times. And as you can see, that worked. So now if I'm sorry, I need to drink something. I have a little cold, as you can probably tell. I'm really sorry about that. Might happen again during this class, but there's not a lot I can do about it. So if you would put this, if you would put some paint on this, on the back side, covering up this with paint, then you would actually have some really nice tape that you can use in your mixed media work. So I'm very sorry. I think I have to mute myself for a moment. I'm sorry. I hope that doesn't happen again. But unfortunately, I can't promise. Okay, let me look at the colors that I have here on my paper. So I need a contrasting color to put on one of these. So I might do this Prussian blue from Winsor and Newton, one of my favorite colors. And I'm just going to roll it out an even layer because I'm cutting up the paper anyway. It doesn't really matter how many patterns I have on this one sheet. Even if I have only one pattern, that's fine because I'm going to cut it up anyway. And now I'm going to use my bubble wrap, if I remember where I've got it here. And push it in there. And just give it some time to pick up the paint. And it creates a lovely texture. And now I can just put my piece on top. And I'm going to place a sheet of paper on top. I'm not going to use my brayer because then the blue of the paint from the edges will also come on my already printed area. And let's see how that turned out. So here I have my little hearts. I could have used a little bit less paint and they would probably have been a little bit more visible, or the background would have been a little bit more visible. So let me try another one with the same texture, but with a little bit less paint. Let me see. I think this might be a nice contrasting color for this one. And make sure I have my bubble wrap close to me. And I'm going to make this layer a little bit thinner. That's always really important when you do gel printing, that the layer of your paint is really thin, because the tools you use to pick up paint can only take up a certain amount of paint. And if you have a really thick layer of paint, then your tool, in this case the bubble wrap, can only pick up the top layer of the paint and will leave a lot of paint behind on the plate. And the more paint stays behind in on the plate in the areas that you want to be open areas, the less your texture will show. So therefore, it's really important to have little bits of paint. So as I already have this color on my paper, I can just pull the print right away. So if I would have my white background, and I'm actually also going to do one of those to show you the difference, then I would either have to print 2 layers, or I would have to wait until my print is dry and use a pickup layer, because otherwise you would just have the white background. I like this one already better than the first one, but maybe that's also because of the color combination. I don't know if it's clear for you, but I can definitely see that this print is more crisp. It has clearer outlines. It's more, you see more of the details than in this one. So that's because I used a little bit too much paint here, and this is a better amount of paint, I think. So here I have one that has a white background, a white reverse side. So If I would create a texture now, for instance, let me see. Let's do purple. I'm going to roll out some purple paint and then use, let me see, what am I going to use for this one? I think maybe, oh, with this dark, I think my lace would actually be a really nice one. You can make beautiful prints with lace. You just have to make sure that your lace doesn't move while you push it down on the plate to pick up the paint, because it's so detailed. When it moves, you will see that right away in the final print, that you don't have like a clear, crisp lines. So you have, and then again, it's so important to have a little paint, because the more paint you have on your plate, the more likely your lace or your bubble wrap will move around. There we go again. I'm really sorry. So I have to leave this to wait, because if I would print it right away, I would just have a white background. So I'm going to wait just for a moment.
So Birgit, is that a fabric lace? Somebody just asked if it was fabric lace or plastic lace.
Sorry, yeah, it's a fabric lace. So it was, you can't see it anymore. It looks almost as if it's a plastic lace, because I used it so many times and it's covered in acrylic paint. And when acrylic paint dries, it becomes like a very thin plastic layer. So the more layers of paint are on there, the more plasticky it gets. But it will keep working perfectly. So yeah, that's also why you should not use too much paint, because if you use a lot of paint, the open areas will just fill up with paint, and as it turns into like plastic, you will lose the details of your lace. So there are many reasons why you should not use too much paint.
Yeah. What about, have you ever heard of plastic lace? I don't know that I have.
Yeah, I actually have some. You can, at least here in the Netherlands, you can get it. It's used in like the old, how do you call them? Old cabinets, old closets that have like these lace strips at the front of a shelf. I don't know if you have that in.
I haven't
I don't
seen
know
it.
if you
No.
have that. So here, if you have like the very old houses with the traditional furniture, do you have these like cabinets that have like glass doors, and then they have these strips of lace at the front of hanging at the front of a shelf.
Okay.
And nowadays you can just buy them like plastic. Of course, that's easier to clean. They used to be fabric in the past. And also you have like these like placemats. Do you call them placemats, what you put under your
Yes.
yeah, so you have also these like plastic lace placemats, and they are also really cool to use for gel printing.
Okay, great.
Okay, let's see if this is dry. I think this is dry enough. And now I need to use a color, a contrasting color, to pick up this layer. So let me see, what color am I going to use? I might actually just go for a baby blue, a light blue. Let's just try this one. I have a feeling that I did move it a little bit here. It's not going to be my most perfect lace print ever, but you will get the idea. And again, as little paint as possible. And in this case, you need just a little bit of paint because otherwise your paper will just not be able to pick up the dried paint from the plate. Because as with your tools, your paper can only absorb a certain amount of paint. So if you have too much paint, it will pick up the top layer of the paint, but it will not also lift up the dried paint that's underneath. So if you are not completely sure that you have the right amount of paint and you are afraid that you might have a little bit too much paint, what you can do is just leave your paper on the plate until everything is dry, because the gel plate is made to release the paint, and if everything is dry, the paint will stick to the paper and not to the plate. So if you're not really sure, you can just wait for everything to dry a couple of minutes, and then you will always know for sure that you will pick up everything. So yeah, as I said, not my most perfect lace print ever, but as I also said before, for this specific technique, you don't need to have your most perfect prints, because when I going to die cut this paper, I'm sure that the hearts will look really pretty with the texture that that I just created here. So I have these die cuts from these dies. They are called dies, right? No, die cuts is the final result, and these are dies, I think. So from Sizzix, and these are hearts. And I don't know why there are 25 of them in here. Because I would say if you have one of each size, you can make as many as you want. But there are 25 of them in here, which is actually great, because you can, and maybe that's why, you can cover an entire sheet of paper with the hearts and die cut them in one go, and you have like a whole bunch of hearts in one go. So I'm going to use these today to show, to create my sample. But for the sample I have here, I have used hand cut hearts. I hand cut my hearts. I'm also going to show you how you can hand cut perfectly, how do you say that? That they are exactly the same on both sides. I don't know the English.
Symmetrical. The symmetrical.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word that I was looking for. So if you want to do that, if you want to cut hearts, symmetrical hearts, and you don't have dies, and you can't draw really well symmetrical hearts, then what you can do is just fold your paper. And what you have to do then is only cut half a heart on the fold, and you will always know that your heart will be symmetrical. And then you can just open it and you will have like a perfect heart. So everybody can do that. But maybe you like actually wonky hearts that are not symmetrical on both sides, and then you can just cut them any way you like. So I have to make sure that the papers that I'm going to die cut are dry, really dry, because you can't die cut paper that is not completely dry. It's I don't know, the dye will just not go through all the way, and it will tear around the edges. So you have to make sure that your paper is really dry. So I can't use these yet. Let me see, do I have any that have both sides printed? No, I don't think so. But that doesn't matter, because I also need some hearts for my card, and they don't have to be double-sided. So I'm just going to show you how to create the hearts using the Sizzix die cutting machine. I have the big shot here, and I hope it fits into the frame. Let me see, here we go. So my plates need to be renewed. I need new plates. So I hope this doesn't break while I'm showing you how to do this. But it also kind of speaks for itself that how it works. So these have a variety of sizes, and you can actually also nest them, which is fun. So you can stack hearts of different sizes on top of each other, and if you like to. But for now, I just want a bunch of hearts to create my card. So I'm just going to try and fit as many hearts on here as I can. And I'm going to use the 2 or 3 biggest sizes. And then I can also always see if I need smaller ones for my final card. Is everything, visible?
Yes,
And
it's good. We can see it.
okay, great. So the best part is when you take the hearts out of the die cutting machine, and how great they look when they are cut out. I'm always amazed by how my least favorite prints suddenly look so good when they are cut into smaller pieces. Okay, so you have to make sure, of course, that the cutting side of the hearts is in the same position everywhere. So either you put these on the plate and then the paper on top, and you have to make sure that this edge, the cutting edge, is then up. But if you put them on the paper like I did now, you have to make sure that the cutting edge is down. And I think this is going to make a little bit noise because the plates are not so new anymore. So I apologize in advance. Not too bad. It sounds a little bit as if it's going to break, but that doesn't happen. And now I can take them out and look at how pretty all these hearts are. And of course, you can then also use this one if you like to create something. You can either put it on top of a sheet of paper like this, and then maybe doodle inside of the hearts, or you could use this if you don't want to use. I really like this one with the colors, but if it's one that you don't like too much, or like a plain one like this, then you could also use it as a mask on your gel plate, of course. Maybe I can actually do a print if I have time using that and see how that works out. But don't you think that this is like really pretty? I mean,
Yes, those are so adorable.
They are, aren't they? And it's just even the colors that are not the greatest ones together. When you see the full print, like this is really not the best colors here, at least not for me. But
it looks good. Yeah,
I know. So
I've never seen one of those die cuts in use. So thanks for showing.
Really?
I haven't. So I love that.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
I had no idea. You know, some things are so common.
Mhm.
When you do a certain thing, some things are so common that you forget that there are people that actually not use it or have never used it or have never done it before.
Right.
So if at any point I forget steps because I assume that everybody knows, then please let me know and say, hey, I have no idea how that works. Tell us,
Mhm.
because yeah, sometimes I think it's so obvious, but I forget that that's not for everybody, not the same for everybody. So
Right.
here I have some hearts that I already made at some other occasions. And here, these are hearts that are double-sided, as you can see. So I'm just going to put these aside because this is actually a lace print that did work out very well. The double-sided ones, I'm just going to put them aside to show you how I made the little banner. And then the ones that are not double-sided, I can use to create the card. And of course, I can also use the double-sided ones for the card if I need one of those, but they don't have to be. So yeah, I have a whole lot of them. And it's fun to just to sit and create a whole bunch of these hearts and also other shapes, and just have them like in a cup, and whenever you want to create something, you can just take it and you're good to go. So for my card, I used these cards from Recollections, also from Michael's. So this is a set that has 50 cards and 50 envelopes, and the cards are in the package like this. And they are scored in the middle, so you can fold them. And then when you fold them, you have a double card. And then you can add something at the front and write something inside, of course. So I'm going to use that card, and I always like to have my the front of my card, the print that I put on the front, a little bit smaller than the card itself, because I like the white border around like I have here. And so I already have some backgrounds here, and this is also something I want to show you, because I always roll off my brayer while I'm printing. So I will show you here. I have this a little pile of cleanup paper here. And when it gets wet, I put one aside and then I go on the next one. And then for the next printing session, I just pile them up again, and I keep using them until the paper is completely filled with paint. And then I end up with pages like this. So with a lot of color, layers of color on them. And I like to use them to create, for instance, the backgrounds for a card like this. So I have a couple here. These are cut already in the right size, but this is cleanup paper. So I didn't make this on purpose. This is just rolled off excess paint from my gel plate. And at some point I look at my paper and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look too bad. That's actually really nice paper, and I will just put it aside. So I have a whole stash of cleanup papers that I can then use for things like this, for instance. So I'm just going to pick one and use that as my as the background for my card. And yeah, I really like the colorful one, but I'm also going to put colorful hearts on top. So maybe I should take one that's a little bit more toned down so you actually see the hearts on top. So let's just take two and see which one works best. And then I'm just going to look through my hearts and see, look for hearts colors that have a nice contrast with my background paper. And
Okay, Birgit, somebody
yeah.
just asked, what weight of paper do you use for your cleanup paper?
So this one is actually just regular copier paper. And I use that the most because it also makes really nice collage paper. It's thin enough to use for collage, but if you do like a card like this and you glue it down, then it's also thick enough to use for a card, but it is not thick enough for die. Well, it is thick enough for die cutting if you actually glue your die cuts in onto a background. But if you want to do something like making a little banner, like the one that I have in my card, then you need a little bit thicker. And this is a thicker one. So this is the heaviest copier paper that I can get here at the bookstore. So this really is not expensive paper. It's a couple of euros for a pack of I don't know, I think 500 sheets or something. So it's not very expensive, but it's really quite sturdy and thick enough to do all kinds of things. And for instance, like bookmaking, if you want to make books, for instance, you can use this paper very well too. So these two papers, just regular copier paper and heavy copier paper, are my most used papers for gel printing. Although I also really like to use tissue paper, because tissue paper is also very nice for collage. So let's see if I have enough contrasting hearts here for this background, or maybe I should go with this one after all. Maybe this one is better. And I like to use different sizes and also different color combinations and different patterns. Make it as colorful and happy and bright as possible. But of course, if you are more like more to do like traditional colors, then you can totally do this in pink and red and white, for instance, and create monochromatic cards, or in any other color that you like, create monochromatic cards, or stick to contrasting colors, for instance, and work on a black background. You can do all kinds of combinations, whatever you like. I also like to have some of the hearts kind of fall off the edge of my my background, as if there's more outside of my card and not just stay within the frame. I think it looks more interesting if you have some of the hearts just fall off. So what I will do is just glue them down and then cut off the excess if anything is sticking out of the background. I actually really like this one. Okay, so I can be busy doing this for a long time before I'm satisfied, but that's just me. I am kind of a perfectionist, but I think we're getting there. So just let's glue them down. I have here from Scrapbook Adhesives, the Easy Dots they are perfect to glue stuff down because you can go all the way to the edge, and because it's dots, they will not go outside of the edge, so you can just glue everything down. Oh, this is printed on book paper, which is very fragile. Kind of came off, some of the top of the paper came off with the adhesive, but I did not ruin it.
So when you say book paper, do you mean like a 24-pound copy paper? Like not cardstock? Or are you thinking it's cardstock?
Which one?
Your hearts.
The hearts. No, it's like it's the heaviest copier paper that I can get here in the bookstore, or not in the bookstore, in the stationery store. Is it called that way? I think so. So what you can put in your copier, in your printer. And here it's 200 grams. I don't know. I think it's about 165 pounds or something.
All right, I'm gonna look.
The difference with cardstock is that copier paper is more compressed than cardstock, and cardstock is like a softer type of paper. It has like, because it's less compressed, it has larger fibers, and you can actually see it when you tear it, that it has more of a soft, fluffy edge than when you tear the heavier copier paper. And the benefit of the copier paper is that it's less likely to stick to the plate. Because if you have the softer papers like cardstock, they soak up the moisture from the paint way more than the copier paper. And then if your paper is not completely dry before you pull your print, your paper will stick to your plate. So people who have the problem that the paper sticks to the plate when they lift it up, they are using probably most of the time using softer paper, like with more bigger fibers, so less compressed paper. And then they don't wait long enough for the paper to dry completely. And then some of the paint is already dry on the plate, and some of the paper is still wet. And what happens then is, because it's such soft paper, that it tears, and where the paint has already dried, that's where the paper tears, and then paper stays behind on the plate. So if you ever experience that problem of paper sticking to the plate, then there are two options. You can either use a more compressed paper like copier paper or Bristol paper instead of the paper that you are using, or you should wait until everything is completely dry. Because once the paint is completely dry, and the paper too, the paint is going to make the paper sturdy enough to pick up the dry paint from the plate, and you don't have to worry that it tears anymore. So there we go. Here we have our card.
So pretty.
And what I could do now is what I did with this card, is take my sewing machine and go around the edge and just give it that little bit extra. And it's especially fun to do when you also make the little banner and put that inside. So I'm going to try and move my camera and show you how I made the little banner. So I need my double-sided hearts, and not the smallest ones, because they are not going to work. So I'm taking the bigger ones, and let me see if I can actually get the camera in the right position so you can see my sewing machine. I might need to take that out, and I tested it this afternoon. It should be possible. There we go. There's my sewing machine. You can see it, right?
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
Okay. So you can actually sew without having paper or let me see if I have a little light. The light is not working. Okay, without having a paper or fabric in between, you can actually sew just the thread, and it will the top thread will go through the bottom thread, and you can create this little a banner like this with the thread in between the hearts. So I'm just going to pull out the thread at the back a little bit, and then put this down, and let me see, is it, yeah, it's on. So I'm just going to push my heart there, and then instead of going right straight to the next heart, oh, I lost the thread here. That's not going. I have to put it back in. Just a moment.
Okay, so when you do it, try to move your left arm down because we couldn't see you feed the heart.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, my left
Okay,
arm is
we
in
got
front
it,
of
but
the gun.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can put this back in.
They like your little cup on the side with the sad face.
Oh yeah, it was a gift from one of my students, and I really love that one. Apparently there are a lot of cups with different faces. I don't know why I got the sad face. That's I wonder now why I got the sad face. Because I don't think I'm a sad person. But maybe the one who gave it to me just thought it was cute. And of course, I don't have much light here. Now I can't thread it. I can't see the hole. That's what happens when you get a little bit older. It's true though.
Oh, good.
Where is the hole?
Are you
There
just
it is.
using regular thread for this? Do you change your thread?
I don't think I have any other thread here. I also don't know why there's a little light in here, why the light is not on. But let me see. I should be able. This is taking so much time. I don't know if it's worth
It's okay.
doing. I don't know if it's worth doing this.
You're saying they feel your pain.
They do. Oh gosh.
We've all struggled threading those needles.
Oh, that's the worst part of sewing.
Totally.
That's it. I've got it. So here we go. Now I have to make sure that I hold both threads while I'm doing this, so it's not going out again. So here we go. And now I try to do it with my other hand. So I'm just going to sew while I'm
pulling.
No, not
push. Are you pulling it?
While I'm holding the thread at the back. Can you see what I'm doing here with my thread? That I'm is it tearing? No, it's not tearing. It's the opposite of pushing. What is the opposite of pushing?
Oh, it's pulling. You're pulling.
Pulling. I'm pulling the thread and make sure that it is that it's not like hanging, that there is pressure on it. Does that
Yeah,
make
there's
sense?
tension. Yeah, there's tension there. We got it.
Tension, exactly. And now I just do some sewing before I put my next part in there. And as you can see, you just get the thread in between the hearts.
Yeah, that's so cute.
And then you can, of course, add as many as you like. And you can do this with any, of course, also with any shape you like. I'm just going to take this one off and put the camera back. Let me see. Back to there we go. Okay. So now you can see that there doesn't need to be anything in between. You can just keep sewing. And because they are double-sided, then you can just hang them anywhere, like in front of a window or in your doorway or wherever you want to, where you want to hang it, and it doesn't matter which way it is around. And I think it's really cute if you have a card like this, send a card like this, and somebody opens it, and then like a whole banner of little hearts falls out. Yeah, so I think I actually already showed everything. I wasn't sure when I started that I would be able to show you everything, but I think I showed you everything. So, excuse me. I hope you enjoyed this and that you are going to make a couple of colorful Valentine's cards, that you have some people to send them to, and that you will surprise them with the little gift inside. So thank you for watching, for coming today and make some Valentine's cards with me. I will be back next month on the Michael's for Michael's class about printing with botanicals. So I hope to see you then again. And next week there will be a blog post by me on the Gelli Arts blog. So also make sure to check that out. Thank you so much for being here today, and see you again next time. Bye. Bye bye.